Hello, everyone. Morning, good evening, good afternoon as we cover the world here. And welcome back to Blue Sky, friends. It's lovely to see all of you here. I keep pressing the admit button. People are still coming in. And so it's really exciting. This is what our fourth class, I think, that we started just recently, and we're going to be adding another class starting next week. Anjali is going to be presenting some classes and working with people who are grieving, whether it's yourself or somebody else, and how to help caregivers and things like that. And she'll begin teaching those next week. And so she'll be teaching on the second Friday of every month. I teach on the first, she teaches the second, and then Ellie teaches on the third Friday of every month. So you can find us here on most Fridays every month. We hope that you join us. So let me open the chat. Keep an eye on that. And so we're going to continue today with kind of where we left off. And I'm not going to give a full explanation of where we left off because it would almost be like having a whole nother class. But this is a course of different classes that we'll be doing for another maybe couple of months that I'll be teaching on good life beyond death. And this is part 2 of it. And I need to see some interpreters here. I can see Ula, so I can keep track of how quickly I'm speaking or not. Okay. So we left off, just to refresh your memories, maybe a little bit, from a month ago. We left off asking, well, what is death awareness? Because we were talking about death awareness. And we were talking about why it's important to have a death awareness. But we didn't really get into what is death awareness and what kind of death awareness do we want to develop. So that's where we're going to go today, is what kind of death awareness do we want to develop and what kind do we not want to develop at all? The first one we're going to talk about is the one we don't want. We'll take care of that one first. So, as Ellie said 2 weeks ago, if you remember, there's a special pain when the mind realizes it's losing contact with its whole universe, with everything it has ever known, right?
那种会有一种痛苦，
It's losing the people in their life, it's losing the things, your ideas, your relationships, everything that we ever cared about. We're losing what control we thought we had for all of these things in our lives. Okay? And it's really, when all of that is being ripped away from you, it's pretty scary, including this body that we identify with so much as me, as who I am, you know, we realize that this body that we've spent so much of our time in this life caring for, to the exclusion of many, many other things and other people, we can't take it with us, right? We can't take it with us. Can't take our things, our friends, our bodies. And all of that is being taken care of, taking away from us, rather. And we don't even know where we're going to go next and what will happen next. So, this can be a very terrifying experience. Now, 2 weeks ago, Geshe Michael gave us a beautiful outline, for those of you who were there, of this old master named Jetsun Rendawa, about 16 steps, like planning where we're going to go next, planning who our family is going to be, planning what our childhood would be like, thinking about and planting those seeds for where we are going to go next. So there's some hope there, right? We can create some hope. So, from that vantage point, we can begin planting the seeds. Though at the time of death, at the time that we shed this body, that thing that we call death, even being able to think is disrupted. And we start to have hallucinations. Our perception of reality shifts. And it continues to shift dramatically. And we don't even realize it. We don't realize that we are hallucinating. And that, of course, like everything else that we have talked about for many years, it's all coming from our own mind. At that time, we're unable to remember our reality before we began hallucinating. So all of this is going on, right? Everything is being ripped away from us. We're not thinking clearly. We're having hallucinations. We're unable to remember our reality before that happened. And so naturally, fear and panic come. We do not, let me say it again, we do not need to meditate on it. It won't help anything to meditate on it. It will not help to meditate on the fear and panic. In fact, it'll probably paralyze you so that you can't do anything, so you can't move. So this is not, it is definitely not what we want to do. We don't want to recreate the pain and terror that we're going to feel at the time of death. That's not the awareness of the death that we're talking about having to develop. In fact, we want to develop something that counters that, that balances that out, something that will guide our minds in a different direction at the time of death. And that's why we need to educate ourselves about it. So, what is the awareness of death, which is the one that we want to develop. Let's talk about that now. We already talked about what we don't want to develop, right? Even we there is a meditation practice you can do if you're going to go into a difficult situation where you are scared, right? And you can think about yourself in that future place and take away that fear. And this is what a good death meditation is like, the one we want to develop. So there is not a single being, right, who has taken on a body like ours, a body that's been created by past deeds and good thoughts and negative thoughts. There's no one who is not absolutely certain that they will die, right? They're not exempt. And it is true, it's said, in the short run, that trying to develop fear about this fact might not enable you to stop it. But you really must try to develop some fear that you might die before you've been able to achieve your goals for your future life. Right? What does that mean? That you might die before you've managed to put an end to anything that might cause you to be born. Born where? Well, we talk about different realms, um, or different realms are talked about. We don't want to be reborn as an animal, which is a realm that we can see. We want to at least have a human rebirth, right? So we want to be able to plant seeds for a future where you won't have to be born, say, as an animal, that you can be born at least as a human. You want to be able to put to an end things that would cause you to be born as an animal. And maybe you don't believe in rebirth. That's okay. But we don't know where we're going unless you have some special vision or something. So we want to achieve things in this life that will lead us to a good birth in our next life. And so if we had a fear of, say, being born as an animal, we'd probably want to do something about it in this life so that at the moment of death, there'd be no reason to be afraid, right? That would be pretty cool. And so the goal of this meditation, the goal that of the meditation we're going to learn is not to dwell on the fear of death or be pessimistic or have some kind of bad feeling about death. The point is to have a good death meditation. In fact, it's to not be afraid. It's to not terrorize you. It's not to get into some kind of depressing thing, right? Where you're imagining with your eyes falling out or your body not moving or whatever it is, it's not for that. It's not to make you nervous or afraid or depressed or anything like that. The goal, the goal is this, that you're truly thinking each time you undertake an activity and each time you start to acquire a new possession, a new drinking cup or something like that. Do I need this thing? Do I need to do this if this were the last day of my life? That's the crux of the question. If this were the very last day, and we don't know, right? Would I want to be doing this? Am I really doing what I really want to do if I'm going to die tonight? And of course, we don't live that way, do we? We have this whole scenario that we're going to live until we're 102 and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're all old enough to know that some of the people and animal friends around us also had those dreams and plans, and they died. And they didn't know that was going to happen. So we need to be prepared. And we're prepared by the choices that we make in our lives, the seeds that we plant in our lives. And this particular state of mind can be divided into two. One is, did I do all the worldly things I wanted to do before I die? Like, did I go to all the places I wanted to go? Did I learn everything, or am I in the process of learning everything that I wanted to learn? Do them one by one. In English, we call this a bucket list. All the things that we want to do in our life in a bucket. Start doing them. Don't put them off. Because you don't have time, right? So do your wildest dreams, even your wildest worldly dreams. I'm not talking spiritual ones here yet. So that's the first state of mind. Right? A good meditation state of mind is, I'm going to die tonight. What do I want to do right now? You might start to change what your career is going to be. When it's interesting, I was helping lead a retreat last week at a place called Diamond Mountain Retreat Center. And this came up really strongly. Like, we talked about it. How a death meditation can make your life so vibrant and so alive. Like, before you even wake up in the morning and you're laying in bed, it's like, okay, if today were the last day of my life, even if I have to go to work, how do I want to show up? What do I want it to look like? Okay. And if you really do this, not the morbid side, but this side, your life will begin to change. What you do, how you live your life, what your job looks like, even in your dreams. And you should be doing all the things you dreamed of because you're aware that you might not have another chance to do it. Mostly we put off, doing things. I'll do it. I'll try that thing later. I'll go to that country later or something like that. Do it now. And I think maybe you can get a sense that if you're thinking like that, you'd always be doing the most vibrant, the most powerful thing in your life. And your meditations would be like that too, because you'd be faced with the idea that you're going to die today. So, inviting you to actually go out into the world today, tomorrow, the next day, and try and have that worldview. See what happens. See if your life doesn't become very exciting and you're not wasting a moment. You've got all this stuff happening and you're excited about it. Cool things are happening. I'm waiting for translators to catch up. I'm sorry. You're automatically disregarding the little things, the petty things. You don't care if the food is cooked right. You don't care about stupid things. You don't care if somebody said something bad about you. It's like, okay, that's fine. And then you go on, right? Your whole viewpoint changes. That's a real death meditation. So I hope you're getting a feeling today about what a good death meditation is like. And if you do that on a daily basis, if it becomes part of your morning habit before you get up, or when you get up and brush your teeth and look in the mirror, when death comes, you won't regret a thing. Now, wouldn't that be nice? What a relief that would be, right? So prioritize what we do in our lives towards the people, the things which will influence our mind after this body is gone. You don't want to be on your deathbed thinking, oh, I wish I would have done that thing. I wish I would have gone to the safari park in Kenya and seen those beautiful wild animals. Right? You don't want to be on your deathbed thinking about that. We want to be on our deathbeds going, I lived a good life. I lived a life that was full, that served a lot of people, that helped, I helped my family, I helped my community. And part of that is not putting off the things that you want to do. And you meet old people constantly telling you that. You ask an older person, what's the worst thing about being old? And many of them will say, you know what? Back in 1943, I met this guy. He was really cute and I wanted to say something, but I didn't. And I still think about that. And I should have gone for it. It's the regrets of the things that we didn't do. I have a friend who's 92 years old, and, you know, she's depressed about not necessarily the thing, well, yes, some of the things that she didn't do. Like she never went traveling. And I travel a fair amount and go around the world. And, she's like, oh, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that. So go for it now. Might be a little scary, but go for it. Or, and don't waste your time. Don't let the opportunity go by now and you didn't go for it. So, talking about getting to the end of your life on your deathbed, knowing that perhaps cancer is killing you and you're sitting there thinking about all the things you coulda, shoulda, might have done. You're thinking about doing something exciting and something you really wanted to do. You're thinking, maybe I should have finished this project I had, right? But I kept putting it off. And to die with those kinds of thoughts on your mind plants negative seeds. So again, and I don't know why this guy is holding this green plant. It's just what AI stuck in there. It does funny things sometimes, right? If you do a good death meditation your whole life, every day you're waking up and saying, what's the most exciting thing I can do today to serve others? What can I do to really put a fire under it today? If this is my last day on earth, if you did that, if you questioned it day after day for a month, 2 months, imagine what it would be like, in fact, if someone did it for a whole year. Imagine how life looks to them, the kind of opportunities they'd be running after and stuff like that. Some of them don't all work out, of course. You're going to die tonight anyway. Who cares if they don't work out? And then you die happy because you can honestly say you tried your best. I went for it. I didn't always succeed. I had a lot of problems. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but I can say I tried my best. I didn't waste my time, not for a moment. So next, I'm going to take you through the beginning of a longer meditation that we're going to do over a few months. And we're going to begin it today. So have a drink of water, get comfortable, get ready to meditate. As I lift my shoulders, I saw Rach do it too. Okay, get ready to meditate. Take your meditation posture. Straight spine, relaxed face and shoulders, relaxed mouth, little smile on your face. Tuck your tummy in a little. It helps to straighten your spine and bring the energy up from the base of it. Come to your breath and just feel the air moving out and in. Imagine you're in a place where there's a large building, almost like a castle. It's made of earthen bricks and it stands on a little island, like a little island. In the center is an open courtyard, and around the place is a moat, a depression that has water in it. And on the far side of the moat, on that bank, is an empty clearing. And behind the clearing, a forest begins. Imagine that you're struggling through this forest. It's thick, it's dark, it's wild, and it's very hard to get through. You have a backpack on, and you're carrying all this stuff. It's heavy, and there's stuff in it, and there's stuff hanging off of it. You've got a big bottle, a water bowl, a big water bottle, a sleeping roll, like a sleeping bag, and all these things are hanging off you and it's heavy, and you're fighting, you're trying to get through the woods. Imagine that. And finally, you break out into the clearing in front of the moat. And you're standing there in the clearing. You're dirty and tired and hot and sweaty. And you have all these things hanging off of you. And you look up finally, and you see that there's a bridge crossing the moat into the building. You're on this side of the bridge, the far side, and you want to go to the building. And just in front of the bridge at the opening are a whole bunch of tables covered with food and drink. And there's all these people helping themselves. They're all crowding around the tables, and you're thirsty. You're hungry. You're hot. You're tired. And you have all this junk on you. You're trying to reach some of the food and the drink, but there's too many people there, and it's hot and it's crowded. And you have to begin pushing people out of the way to get to the tables. And you do. You're pushing people out of the way, old people, young people. You're trying to reach the food and the drink. Now think about living a life of a person who doesn't remember death, who doesn't recall death, who has no death awareness. They're just like me in that moment. They're just grabbing after small things, petty things, and hurting other people to get them. They're collecting bad seeds while they waste their lives. That represents the first part of this path, the first meditation, which is on the problems of not remembering your death. You're just grasping after small, petty things of this life and hurting other people to get them. So, next time you do this meditation, connect that to the table and the food and all the people who are gathering around it. And the junk on your back is all the unnecessary possessions, all the unnecessary relationships, and unnecessary activities that you're engaged in that don't really make you happy. They just fill up time. If you have time, identify the possessions in your pack. Like the backpack represents the mortgage payments weighing you down. You know? The water bottle is big and bulky. That's maybe your car. You make the connections like that. Do you want to be that person pushing and grabbing for things? Next, think about how good it would be to have a good death meditation. Here, you're breaking out of the crowd, you're making your way towards the bridge. You know, it's one of those drawbridges on a castle that goes over the moat. You've become tired and fed up with the scene around the tables. You don't want to live like that. So you're breaking out of that scene. The space between you and the bridge gets smaller and smaller. And then you finally make it to the bridge. And the bridge is the next step in the meditation. These are the benefits of a good death meditation. Slowly, you go across the bridge and begin to take junk off your back. You take stuff off your belt, off your chest, off your backpack, and you throw it into the water. It represents getting rid of those unnecessary possessions, extraneous possessions, and extraneous activities, the useless things that we work for and spend our time on, that we don't need, that are not helping us. Take off that big weight around your neck, social media, and throw it into the water. Maybe even your phone. So start throwing them off and feel your body and your back getting lighter and lighter as you cross the bridge. Give each object a meaning in your own mind. So you've lightened your load. You're feeling much happier. It's not so tiring and hot anymore. You've gotten rid of all those things that were weighing you down. And we're coming close to the end of the bridge. We're feeling light, but we're still tired and dirty, scratched up from being in the forest. You come to the end of the bridge, and there in front of you are standing a few tough guys who are guarding the door into the castle. and they are not interested in letting you in at all. These are like big, rough guys with knives or swords or some kind of blades, right? And you have to get through them. So you begin thinking to yourself, how am I going to get through them? And you start to pick up speed and you run as hard as you can. And now that you no longer have all that heavy baggage, you burst through them and get through them. That represents the normal fear of death, which is a lousy death meditation. That represents the third part. What was that third part? What is a good death meditation? What would it be to have a good death meditation? So, first we go through the wrong one, which is to be afraid of death, like to fear it in a normal way. In the way of a person who's suddenly faced with a life-threatening situation. And they have some kind of knee-jerk reaction to save their life. Or a person who's just had heart pain and the experience of fear and panic. That's not death meditation. The next step, the next meditation, is to overcome that fear and drive past that fear and not think of death that way. So we break through a kind of negative death meditation. We break through these people with the knives, and they don't touch you. And then suddenly it's as if you took a bath. You're clean, you smell good, your body's covered with some kind of scent. Your whole body's totally clean. You feel light and strong and happy. You're covered with these light, comfortable clothes like silk. And in front of you, there's this grassy section between you and the building that we're going to enter. But before that door that opens into the building, there's a meadow, beautiful grass, and you're just dancing across it like very light and very happy. And that represents a good death meditation, the kind of death meditation we want to do. And this kind of death meditation is really just some kind of feeling of lightness. Every moment living as if it were your last moment, and feeling free and unencumbered by things you don't need or activities you don't need to be doing. Light and happy and lean, and dancing across that meadow. That represents the goal of a good death meditation. So now you're standing in front of a door, and that will be the beginning of how to do the death meditation, which I will share with you in the next class. So stay tuned. Come back to your breath. Three long exhales. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So we have a few minutes left here. So let's see how much further we get in what I prepared for you. So those were the first three steps. And now we're on to number 4, which are the actual steps to develop death awareness. The one that we want to cultivate, the one which will help us. And there are 3 principles for meditating on death. The first one, it is certain I will die. Number 2, there's no certainty when I will die. And number 3, nothing but what is in our hearts can help us. So how is it certain that I will die? Right? The first principle of death meditation is it is absolutely certain that I will die. Doesn't matter how strong I am, how good I've been, how many people love me, how rich I am, how good my doctor is, what a good yogi I have been. Doesn't matter where I go, right? Doesn't matter what I do to try to stay alive. Nothing can stop my leaving this impure body behind. And that's what we call death. It's getting rid of this impure body. So consider, death is certain. Leaving this body behind is certain. Nothing can stop it. We can't add time to our life. And when we die, nothing but how we have treated others can help us. Death will come and nothing can stop it. Right? It's impossible to add time. Every breath we take, we are one breath closer to death. Our life is leaking away every moment with every thought. Every thought, every word, every action, every meditation, etc. Right? So when we die, it's all a reflection on how we have cared for others. Some good people die young. Some cruel people live into ripe old age. And this life mostly reflects the seeds we have planted in past lives. We can't just sit back and take comfort in being young, but we do. We aren't worried. And it is certain that you will die if you don't do anything about it without having had any time to practice goodness while you were alive. The second principle is there's no certainty when we will die. Our lifespan is not fixed. We don't know when we're going to die. It could be today, tomorrow, next year, in 20 years. Some people die young, right? Some old, some die sick, some die healthy. Seems to be random. Scientists and governments calculate an average lifespan. This too changes over time, right? It only means that half the people die under that age and half the people die over that age. Which one will each of us be? Will you die before your kids or after them? We don't know. We can't add time to our lives. The seeds for this life are finite. They have an end. We will use them all up. And also the things which can kill us are many, and the things which sustain us are few. Like little things that we can't see with our naked eye. Viruses, bacterias, autoimmune diseases, dividing cells. And then there's inanimate things, things external to our bodies, right? Food, cars, the stairs you fall down, the thorn you get in your toe. Also, some Asian cultures, they talk about the elements which make up our bodies, like earth, which is solidity, and water, which is fluidity, the ability to flow, heat, warmth in our body, wind, movement. Right? They say that these four energies are constantly in flux, and the things which keep us alive are few: water, air, food, shelter, medicine, sugar, can all kill us. So the things we depend on to survive can kill us. Because of the seeds, because of seeds that we have, these things can become such that they do not and cannot sustain us. Somebody chokes on a piece of food, right? So our bodies are extremely fragile. A tiny thorn can cause death if it gets infected, no matter how healthy you seem to be, how sick you seem to be. We are only 4 minutes from death. They say 4 minutes without air. And quite frankly, it's a miracle it hasn't happened yet, right? Or a tiny virus like COVID or AIDS, a random radiation particle hits one cell and we get cancer. We can die so easily. And we never have enough time even to do the things we want to do. Time passes so quickly. And we're also easily distracted by our worldly needs and desires and obligations. So we spend very little time planting the seeds for what we can take with us when we die. So, what can help us when we die? When you die, there's not a single one of your friends or relatives that you can take along with you. When you die, you cannot carry along with you a single molecule or atom of any material wealth you have. And when you die, you must give up even the flesh and bone. They're part of your very being. So what do? Knowing that we will have to die, we resolve to begin our practice of being kind to others and ourselves today. Knowing that we could die anytime, we must quit primarily focusing on our worldly work. Meaning, what is the most important thing I can do? Would death meditation help me to do this every day? And finally, since nothing else can help me, I must develop into a kind person now. A person who is going for a hike for many miles doesn't fill up their backpack with a lot of junk that they won't be needing. So I invite you to do this meditation, listen to this class again, get familiar with the meditation, and then begin to see what good things does your death meditation inspire you to do. What things in my life do I want to continue to do with enthusiasm? And which ones do I want to bring to a successful conclusion? Use this chance to start or continue creating the life that you want in this life, because how we live this life is intricately involved in how we will leave this life behind. So with a few minutes over time, we made it to the end of class. I wanted to answer Barbara's question. If you want to stay, let me answer that question. And if any of the rest of you have questions. She asks, can Tonglen be done for ourselves if we have a terminal illness? And the very simple answer is yes, of course. By doing Tonglen, we open our hearts to our suffering and to the suffering of others. We see it being taken away. It reminds me of a story, in fact, just a quick one. When my father died of pancreatic cancer, and when he was in rehab, I was talking with him, and he was a scientist. And he was telling me, I imagine, I don't remember how many centimeters big it was, but I imagine this dark 5 centimeter lump in my chest, and I imagine it just going away. And I looked at him and I said, wow, that's interesting. We have a meditation like that called Tong Len. And he asked me to teach it to him. And so for the next maybe month or so, he didn't live very long after that, I would go and lead him in a Tonglen meditation on his tumor in his pancreas. And it put his mind at ease. And I think it was very helpful. It may not take the terminal illness away. It will change your relationship for sure with it. And it could take it away as well. We need to use everything that we have to help keep us healthy and strong so that we can serve others. It's a good question. Thank you for that, Barbara. Any other questions? And I'm going to close this. Oh, yeah, there we are. Are there any other questions? Well, I hope this wasn't too depressing today. And I hope, in fact, it was inspiring to begin thinking about, okay, I'm not here for a permanent amount of time. What is the best thing I can do with my life? How can I serve? Right? So give me a few days to get these videos up online on our YouTube channel. You can look for it under Blue Sky Friends. You can also find the URL for it on our website, blueskyfriends.org. And then next week, Anjali will be talking about grief. So if that's something you want to learn about, please come and join her class. Same time, same place. And I'll see you next month. So don't forget this meditation because we're going to pick up where we left off. Don't worry, we'll review it a little bit before we pick up again. Have a good rest of your day, evening. It's been a pleasure to be here. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Спасибо большое, дорогой учитель.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you so much.
I like looking at all of you. It's fun.
Muchas gracias, maestra Gail. Por favor, quédate.
Благодарю. Спасибо.